The one thing that continuously and reliably makes me a better musician is weight training. And in this video, I wanted to explain why and how, based on my 13 years of being in a gym and 17 years now of making music. My name is Brandon Wells, and I am a resolutioner. I started seriously weight training around the new year of 2010. And while the expected motivation doesn't really last long as people usually experience, there were some really big delayed payoffs with it. I promise these all tie into music at its very core, so stick around and let me explain everything. I started like most people with an ambition. After high school, one of my homies was trying to get into personal training and he needed some clients to build his own portfolio, so I volunteered. The first 2 months were kind of so-so. I didn't really prioritize it as much as I should have, but then I got a $10 gym membership to Planet Fitness and my enjoyment skyrocketed. I was in a new environment and I was vulnerable and I was hungry for change. Fast forward about a year or so and it kind of took over my life. I competed in natural bodybuilding in 2012 and again in 2015, all the while going through many different musical endeavors. This balancing act is something that never really reached an ending for me. It's something that I still try to maintain to this day in order to feel normal. So what were all those payoffs that I mentioned? How does it actually make me better? I made a list. It taught me about finding mental flow, meditation, and self-therapy. I'm sure you've experienced this in some sort of way in your life. It usually requires some sort of practice in isolation, whether that's playing an instrument, going for a run, cleaning your house. But with weight training, I found a whole new level of flow, because when you're physically pushing yourself past your limits, the level of effort you're demanding from your own body requires you to muster up some drive from somewhere new. It's a high that I've never found anywhere else. It's a form of self-therapy that feels like my brain is taking a shower. Side note, if you need therapy, you should go to therapy. This isn't taking the higher route and sidestepping the work of real professionals. Just a form of your own self-maintenance. It taught me about how far I could go with strict goals and timelines. When I was in contest prep for bodybuilding, there's a specific end date. Every week was calculated. I knew exactly how much I was eating every single day of prep. I even knew what weights I was going to lift on any given training day, months ahead of time. And having this sort of structure isn't really for everyone, but it taught me how far I could go with timelines and how to calculate expectations on a day-to-day basis for long-term goals. I use the same approach for when I'm planning out my year of song releases, making my music videos, and even making my YouTube videos. Because when it's all mapped out for you ahead of time, you really just have to worry about executing and following the plan. For example, if you're mapping out a song a month, maybe week 1, you're just exploring melodies and riffs, demoing out your ideas. Week 2, you're tracking everything out. Week 3, you're sending the song off to your friends to gather feedback. And then week 4, you're making those changes before you send it off for release or mixing or whatever you do. When the plan is written down, you don't have to think of what or when, you just have to think of how and following that plan. It taught me discipline and patience for things with delayed payoffs. The road to getting better at your own fitness is not something that comes easy. It takes a long time to reach your goals, and it requires a lot of patience. And to be honest, I think music actually takes more. I think some of the most prolific artists and bands that have stood the test of time really just made it out on top because of their patience. It's like a game of just how long can you survive doing this? Because new bands and artists come and go all the time, but the ones that we really cherish are the ones that show us that it's not a phase. It's embedded into them as humans to keep up this lifestyle and continue to do it. An object in motion stays in motion. When you take small steps of improvement or self-development, there's a small dose of progress. When you continuously practice that over time, it's a lot easier to stay on the treadmill than it is to hop off. It makes those creative mental flow states harder to dismiss. So just keep the lights on by staying in motion. It gave me a defined space for creativity. Most of my best writing happens when I'm training. As I get older, my approach to making music evolves. It changes all the time. This past year, most notably, I've tried to focus my writing on just making better songs with the melody and lyric being the ultimate thing that I chase. That's something that an easier task to chase when it doesn't require a physical instrument to express it, apart from my own brain and the voice memo app. But most of my best writing happens when I'm training. It's become something that has actually shifted over time from going to the gym to get better at my fitness or weight training to doing this just to hop into a creative flow state. So like sometimes I'll actually leave the gym early because I have an idea for something that I have to work on. So going to that defined space is a ritual for me that's permissive to those kind of flow states. It gave me physical strength to lug around without damaging myself. I think this one kind of speaks for itself. The amount of gear that I have accumulated over the years has only grown and gotten heavier. So being physically stronger is only complementary to what's required. Playing shows, having band practice and whatever, and just lugging around your equipment is a lot less taxing, even with having more stuff. It makes me realize my expectations of limits. This might be a hot take, but I'd rather not work out than have a bad workout. Forcing yourself through something that doesn't feel right is just not helpful in the long run. And a lot of time with music, forcing something to work is also a sign that I just need to step away and likely take a nap or go do something else that can refresh your brain. You gotta know when to throw in the towel, and having one too many bad gym days over the years has definitely taught me that. There's a time and place for adjusting your day to be able to make the best of it, but sometimes you just gotta know when it's time to stop. It continues to give me perspective of doing something for your own enjoyment. The last time that I was in another bodybuilding prep was in 2020, and that was cut short, obviously. But there was a turning point for me as well, where I realized that I only need this weight training thing for myself. I need it so that I feel normal. The concept of competing with it just doesn't matter to me anymore. And I realized what it meant to me and how it improved my life instead of it taking over my life as it did before. It made me realize the importance of just having hobbies and prioritizing those hobbies for your own enjoyment. Because I've lived most of my life, as most people do, with the mindset of how do I turn this thing, this hobby, into something that could make a living, instead of how can this thing make life worth more living? So how can we reassess our approach to music to being more about the enjoyment of music? How can we maintain a sense of appreciation for the art and the practice without thinking of it as commerce? And finally, it's democratic. You can't buy your way to results. I mean, you can get steroids and things like that, but you still have to put in the work. You can't buy your way into fitness goals. You have to practice. You can't buy your way to a better song. You just have to write something better.